You have to be very ready with your hand camera, because this action can become very fast.
Yes.
In a matter of 3-4 minutes, it could be all over, you know. And I may not be able to talk to you again after this.
I tried to dissuade him. I tried to ask some people from all walks of life, and I asked them if it was advisable for Ninoy to return. And the answer I got was negative. And so I wrote him that he should delay his coming. Not that we do not like him to be here, but just delay it for a year more. And I said, because Vox Populi, Vox Dei, I have asked, I said, so many friends of mine from all walks of life, and the answer is no. So I said, you better rethink this plan of yours in coming back. But then he wrote me and he said that there is no place like home, and although that home may mean for him this time jail or death. And when I wrote back, I said, there are threats on your life. Someone's high there. Send word that if you came, they'll even kill you in the plane. And his answer was, that's just a threat to frighten your mother, he said. And besides, if they put me to jail, well, it's all right. I'll go to jail again. But I want the people to know that I am here with them, not far away from them, but here, right here, suffering with them.
Ninoy was the optimist to the very end. He really was. And he was still hoping that when he landed here that the government would be somewhat lenient and have some sense of justice and would simply put him under house arrest. But you know, I think he really thought that the most likely possibility was that he would be taken to prison, Fort Bonifacio again. He left the States 1 week before we arrived here, and I joined him in Taiwan. We were trying to keep our arrival, the plane we were arriving on, very secret. There was still some concern on our part because we didn't know whether he would be stopped at the airport. Somebody, maybe from China Airlines, would recognize him and say, no, we can't let you on board. So there was some concern as we went to somebody else got his tickets, and we arrived there, took his tickets, went through immigration. But he proceeded, you know, nothing happened. That's to be expected because you can't expect people on Taiwan to know who Benigno Aquino is. I mean, he had a fake name on his passport, Marcial Bonifacio. And he picked that name. And he was very proud of that name. You know, he said, you see that? Marcial Bonifacio, I'm going to stick it to him. Stick it to the government. He said, Marcial stands for martial law, and Bonifacio stands for Fort Bonifacio, where he spent 7 years of his life, prisoner. And during the whole flight, he was, again, he continued to be excited. Most of the press people on the plane interviewed him. There was a lot of commotion on the plane because everybody was taking his picture, all the press people. And, you know, the passengers wondered who this was. And there were several Filipinos on board, and they recognized him, of course, and they were so excited. As we got closer to Manila, he became more serious. The moment was arriving when we would be home. And at one point I looked over to him, and I was going to talk to him, but he was deep in prayer. He had his rosary beads out, and he was saying the rosary. So I didn't disturb him, obviously, and I looked away, and a little while later, I looked over again. He had put the beads down, and his hands were clasped, and he was praying. I could see his lips moving. Prayed for quite a while. But as we got closer to the Manila airport, again, he was excited.
I think
think the very fact alone that we can land is victory enough. Everything after that's bonus. I mean, whether they put me back in the plane and ship me out or bring me to prison, I have promised to return. I have returned against all odds. So that's good enough for me. You have to be very ready. So this is the danger, the big danger. Now, I am taking some precaution. I have my bulletproof vest, hoping that would be some kind of a protection. But if they hit me in the head, there's nothing we can do there. I suppose there's a physical danger because, assassination is part of public service. My feeling is we all have to die sometime. Now, if it's my fate to die by an assassin's bullet, so be it. But I cannot be petrified by inaction or fear of assassination and therefore stay in a corner. I have to suffer with my people. I have to lead them because of the responsibility given to me by our people. Jesus Christ.
My son-in-law came running, and he said, I didn't see them shoot Ninoy, but they took him. 3 PC men came up and took Ninoy, and then we heard shots, he said. Now, I don't know what happened.
But I still had some hope at that point that maybe he wasn't dead yet. Maybe he was still alive.
Then later he went out and there was cheering. And so he came back, Mommy, I think Ninoy is alive because the people are cheering. And we found out later that they were cheering Doy Laurel and Butch. Butch looked like Ninoy. They thought it was Ninoy. It was a mistake.
Then after that you left?
We left the VIP. We went to Baclaran where people were waiting, and we prayed. And of course, at this crisis, one cannot really pray well. All I did was cry.
Sunday morning in Boston. More or less, I expected Ninoy to arrive 1 o'clock in Manila. So I figured by the time they get him out and maybe bring him to Bonifacio, I was giving it a time period of 2 hours. And I had requested my relatives here to let me know as soon as possible what they have done to Ninoy. But all along, what was in my mind was they would arrest Ninoy and bring him to Fort Bonifacio. So at maybe 2:20 or 2:30, the phone rang. And Bolsey, our oldest daughter, answered the phone. And, from the expression on her face and from the sound of her voice, I knew it was not good news because she said, no, we haven't heard and all that. So anyway, after she finished talking, I asked her, what was it? And she said, Mommy, somebody from the Kyoto News Agency in New York asking, verifying if it is true that Daddy was killed. So I said, why? What happened? And so she said that they had told her that there were accounts that shots were heard and Ninoy had been shot, but it was not confirmed whether he was dead or not. So we asked, where did you get the report? And they said from UPI. So I called up UPI in New York, and they told me that there were still unconfirmed reports, but definitely Ninoy had been shot, but whether he was still alive, nobody knew. Then after, I think around 3 or 3:30, I got a call from a Japanese congressman who has been a friend of ours for a long time, and he told me, Cory, I'm very sorry, but I wish I could tell you that these are unconfirmed, but a Japanese correspondent who was with your husband saw your husband shot and saw him shot in the head, and your husband is dead. I'm very sorry to have to tell you this. So after that, I just shut the phone, and then I told my children, let's just pray the rosary. There's nothing we can do.
We went 2 times to his house, which we prepared a week before. We had been cleaning it. It had been abandoned for the last 3 years. So we went to Times Street, where we heard there that the body was in Bonifacio. It was only through the radio that we heard the body was in Bonifacio Hospital. And when we went to Bonifacio, they would not let us in. And we waited and waited for almost a half an hour, and somebody came and told us we could get, I think it was a jeep. And someone said, well, they can ride their car. And we rode our car and we went to the hospital, which it's a little far from the entrance. So again, there was a bar that across the street we could not enter. There were 6 soldiers, and they told us we cannot enter and go to the hospital. But I said, is this not my right? I said, I'm the mother of Ninoy, and I would like to take his body. Whatever happens to him, is he here or is he not here? And the soldier, Mom, we do not know anything about it. And he was so hurt, and he showed me, because he thought probably I was forcing myself, and he showed me a way until Captain Grant came. Captain Grant was the custodian of Ninoy when he was detained for 7.5 years. He said, we need very kind captain for my son. And so I said, Captain, can you take us to the hospital where Ninoy is? He said, yes, come on. So I went with a daughter and my son-in-law, Ernesto. Then they told us that he was there alone in the room and lying on a cot covered with blanket. When I opened the blanket and saw him, I was really surprised. There was a smile on his face, very distinct smile. And I don't know if it was a message for me to keep calm, to be at peace, to let me know he's at peace with God.
Ken Kashwahara was able to call me from Manila, his Lupita's husband, and he told me, Cory, I'm very sorry, and I tried to accompany Ninoy, but they wouldn't let any of us accompany Ninoy. So I'm really sorry, but Ninoy is gone. So anyway, I told my children to please call, our Filipino friends in Boston. Most of them are doctors, because I felt since they were just us there, and well, in a matter of minutes, so many of them had come. So around 6 o'clock, my daughter said, Mommy, we might as well go to Mass. There's a 6 o'clock Mass. And since we live in front of Boston College, which is a Jesuit university, we heard Mass there. But all along I was thinking, I hope I can locate a Filipino priest to say Mass for us while we're still here. And as if God answered my prayers right away, here comes Father Arevalo from Ateneo, who was visiting at Boston College. And he came over because it was already being flashed on radio and television about Ninoy.
Nothing was given to us. Nobody seemed to know anything. And we waited there. That was around 5 when they asked me to sign the paper that they gave me the body. But we left the hospital almost 9 o'clock. We took him to the funeral parlor at Guadalupe, where they embalmed him. But I asked them to keep the face and the jacket of Ninoy as is. I said, don't change anything. I want the whole world to know, to see what they did to my son.
Dito na lang sa mama. Bilis na, bilis. Kaya tuloy-tuloy lang, tuloy-tuloy. Tuloy-tuloy lang, tuloy-tuloy. Tuloy-tuloy lang, marami kang hindi kasi imitan. Tuloy-tuloy lang, dito kanan. Bilis lang, bilis. Bilis, bilis, bilis. Tuloy lang, tuloy.
In parting, I want to thank the American people again for the 3 years that we had in this beautiful country. We shall always remember Boston as one of the happiest places. And we hope we shall also be able to come back here. Maybe not in the near future, but certainly I hope before God calls us.
It was very painful, but at least I knew that God was there sending all these people to help me. So that made things much, much easier. I knew that my children and I couldn't have done this alone. After yesterday's procession, I am convinced that he did not die in vain. What would really have broken my heart is that, after Ninoy had died and people would still be so apathetic, but apparently all that is changed. And yesterday when we brought him to Santo Domingo, this was the greatest consolation for me and my children. All those people going out there, and at last I saw many people no longer afraid. Because before that, I was saying, oh Ninoy, the problem is, it's always you who has to do everything. And then he said, well, that's my duty. I opted to be a leader and I have to show the people how. And, well, I guess he has shown the way, and hopefully the Filipino people will appreciate what he has done. And I think they do, because they showed us yesterday that they were all behind him. And newspaper reports said that we were close to 500,000. So I am very grateful to the Filipino people that they acknowledge what my husband has done, and I hope they will help me in making sure that his memory will live forever. Sabay-sabay nga magkaawitan ang mga bansa.
I am overwhelmed at the outpouring of emotion and support of the people. Not only the people here, but the people apparently all over the world who are showing concern and support for Ninoy. I walked down from here to Santo Domingo Church, and it was just incredible, the number of people on the sides and on the rooftops that were waiting to see him. And I haven't gone out of the house too much, but when I did go to one hotel and I had lunch there, and afterward the waiter comes up to me and says, please accept my condolences. I'm walking out the door and another person says, please accept my condolences. My driver says the same.
The Lord has a way of consoling those who are grieving. The scene that I see every day from Monday up to today, long line of people suffering the heat of the sun or the downpour of rain, only to see a glimpse of Ninoy is so consoling that many loved him. They have pictured my son so badly in the papers as if he were the most noted criminal. They gave him all charges and fabricated charges. But here is the proof that he is loved by the people. I didn't expect, that's why we put him in his house, which is not big, as you have seen it, thinking that there will be some who will come to condole with us. I didn't expect the crowd to be going up there during the day and during the night, the whole night through. It's a 24 hours procession, shall I say, to just view Ninoy in his coffin. One morning I woke up very early thinking there would be no people, but when I saw that there were young men going around the casket, I asked one of them, I said, "Why are you so early, my anak? Bakit kayo masyadong maaga? Where did you come from?" And they said, "We are taxi drivers, ma'am. This is the only time we can see him because during the day we will be very busy." It was so touching to see that all these drivers and women from the market came to see Ninoy.
Ang tanong sa akin kung sino si Ninoy Aquino, siya ay simpleng politiko na nagnanais makapaglingkod sa ating bayan. So pagbabasa ko, he's really a great man, especially sa mga sa masa sa Pilipino.
Matagal ko nang kilala si Ninoy Aquino noong pang way back before martial law. Ang pag-uwi niya dito sa atin, sa palagay ko, ay upang pagsama-samahin ng lahat ng oposisyon, no? Upang maiwasan ng isang bloody revolution sa Pilipinas, upang makamtam ang demokrasya ng pamamagitan ng tahimik na pamamaraan na katulad ng ginawa ni Gandhi. Pero sa ginawang pataksil na pagpatay sa kanya, palagay ko ang masang Pilipino ngayon, lahat tayo dito ay nagdaramdam sa sinapit ni Ninoy Aquino. Maging yung mga kabataan ngayon na hindi inabot ang panahon ni Ninoy Aquino noon ay nakakadama kung gaano kapait, kung gaano kasakit para sa masang Pilipino ang kanyang pagkawala.
Si Ninoy Aquino ay isang tunay na Pilipino. Isang Pilipinong nagmamahal na tunay nang walang pakunwari sa bansa natin. At ang kanyang pagkamatay ay nagpapatunay na ng isang matahimik na alingawngaw na revelasyon, no? It's a silent but reverberating revelation na maraming nagmamahal sa kanya at naniniwala sa kanya ng tahimik lang sapagkat natatakot lang silang hindi ako Tagalog. Ibulalas ang kanilang damdamin. Noon ang akala ko ang Pilipino ay lahing magigiting. Subalit ang nakikita ko ngayon, bagamat ako hindi mahilig sa politiko, parang naduwag ang ating mga dapat sana'y magigiting ng mga kababayan.
Ang masasabi ko tungkol kay Ninoy Aquino ay talagang tunay na dakila at talagang tunay na matapang na Pilipino. Hinarap niya ang tinatawag na kamatayan upang mapakita lang niya sa taong bayan na talagang tunay na talaga siyang ang leader ng mga mahihirap. Hindi lamang mga mahihirap, kundi inapi. At pinagsigawan niya na rin ang mga tinatawag na karapatan ng taong bayan.
Ang masasabi ko po tungkol kay Ninoy Aquino, siya isang dakilang lalaki. Sapagkat kahalin tulad siya ni Rizal na itinayang kanyang buhay para sa kapakanan ng mga taong naapi. At lalo na sa panahon ito na nakikita natin ang Pilipinas ay lubhang naghihirap na. At dahil dyan sa bagay na ini, ang tanging lalaki sana na pag-asa ng bansang ito para mahango ang Pilipinas sa nasadlak na kapahamakan sa kamay ng mga nangasiwa sa bansang to. Ngunit naakala kong ang pag-asa natin ay parang naglalaho pa sa bagay nito. Kaya masasabi ko, kung dinadakila natin si Rizal, na gaya ng pagdakila ng sambayan ng Pilipino, sana si Ninoy Aquino paukitin sa ating puso sapagkat ibinagmalasakit na ating bayan sa paraang hindi nga lang niya nagawa ang buong kanyang layunin sapagkat sa panahong hindi naasahan ni siya nawala sa ating mga paningin.
I do not want to point an accusing finger at anyone in particular, but I would just like certain questions answered. When I saw on television while I was still in Boston that only 3 security men went up to arrest Ninoy, I said, this is really so strange. How come only 3 security men were assigned to pick up Ninoy? When Ninoy was still in Fort Bonifacio, every time he would go out to the military court or to the Supreme Court, at least 20, 30, or sometimes even 100 security men were with us. And at that time, the government did not say anything about assassination threats. So I said, how come now when the government kept warning Ninoy that there are assassination plots, and they only sent 3, and I think they were just regular soldiers. I don't think they were officers. And I said, if they really wanted to secure my husband's safety, why did they not send officers whom my husband knows? Because I don't know who are these people and all that. So these are questions that I would like the government to answer for me.
The Olivas report describes the assailant as a notorious killer, a gun for hire, and has reportedly been used by various elements, including organized crime and subversive elements.
Only time he entered politics I know what politics is. My husband had been in politics, had been in the government for 25 years, and every election was an ordeal. But I have stirred myself to accept the fact that they are for country service. And when you are a dedicated person, you have to run risks, difficulties, heartaches. Ninoy had always been a lover of people. You know, when he was small, I used to remember this very distinctly. My husband used to give parties here in the house. He was a member of the cabinet, and once in a while we give parties. And during the parties, we'd be looking for him, the 5-year-old Ninoy. We would not find him. Where do we find him? In the midst of all the drivers. There he was, giving them speeches. I didn't know what a 5-year-old boy would say, but they enjoyed him. And my husband said, I think Ninoy is the one that will really become to be the leader.
He was the best possible man for me. I have never met any other man that I would have wanted to have as a husband and to have lived with all of these 28 years. He was my ideal man, and he made me happy. And not only that, if I am a better person today, I think I owe that to my husband.
My father was a very unselfish man. He was really very generous to people and to us. He was the type who would rather keep the old things. If, like, let's say he had 2 things, a new one and an old one, he would be happier if he gave the newer thing. He didn't spend much for himself, but then when it came to others, he was really willing to give up everything. And he had told us many times that in this world we should be happy that, you know, those who are blessed should be happy that they were born with the good things, and so that he wanted us to share with the less privileged. Also, he was a very lively man, someone we could always count on to do the talking for us if there were people, let's say at home, who we felt at that time was better not there. People who didn't really know but would come. He would welcome anybody at home. So every time any of our friends would come over, and let's say we weren't ready, he was always there. He was always the first, and he was just full of stories to anyone. Some of my friends would be hesitant to talk to him because, like, sometimes, especially those who've never met him, because they were a little afraid about what they could tell my father. But you know, they later found out that it was so easy to be with him because he could talk about, I'd say, about anything. And not just because he's my father, but I think he's one of the more rounded people I've ever known.
You see, he was what they would call a man who was driven. You know, in anything and everything he ever wanted or he ever tried to do, he wanted to excel. And towards that goal of excelling, he could only, again, offer so much limited time. No, so the thing was, he had, for example, he wanted to play tennis, I think, once, because if you remember, before martial law, he was really very, very rotund, no? Which is supposed to be an Aquino trait also. But he wanted to learn the complete game in, I think, 2 sessions or 2 days time. He wanted to be able to play, which isn't the way he learned tennis. And you know, anything and everything. He was like a depository of knowledge in a lot of things, together with an analysis of whatever you would ask him. He was a man who had 2 goals, one taking precedence over the other at times, but he always tried, and I guess he succeeded to a large degree in both, the goal of the family man and the man of public service.
It was a time when I got to know my father, because I was only 1.5 when they put him in jail. So that was a time that we really got to know each other, and it was really, as my sister said, a gift from God, because back here, well, what we knew of each other was when we saw each other. It wasn't, we really got close there. He taught us many things, especially to love our country.
We really lived like a family, kept almost normal times, had dinner together. We got my father to take us to ball games.
I think my husband had many contributions, but if I were to single one out, especially in these present times, I would point out to his courage. We have many intelligent people in the Philippines, but I think a combination of intelligence and courage is a rare thing. And my husband was one of the fortunate few to be blessed with both. And for this, we thank the good Lord. And I hope the way my husband lived will be an example to all of the Filipinos, that let us all be courageous, because together we can accomplish many things. And he always said, it's as easy to be courageous as to be a coward. So why not be courageous? And if we are courageous, we can infect our neighbor. So my children and I this is a painful time for us, but we want to be brave so that we can be an example to our fellow Filipinos, so that Ninoy's dream for the country, will not just fade away.
It would be very hard, Mommy, he said, very sad, very tragic, if I will die in another country. And that's another thing that consoled me. It is that he came, he arrived, because he was full of joy when the plane landed. And he said to Ken, victory, victory. We landed, Ken, I'm now in my country.
Ninoy has always said that to die for one's country is a rare privilege. And if he had a choice, that is what he would have opted for.
My friends, in our grief over the passing of Ninoy, let us not blind ourselves to the fact that he came not in the spirit of confrontation, but in that of reconciliation. As we mourn his death, let us remember that he left us a priceless legacy, the legacy of working with all our heart and with all our soul and with all our strength for a revolution of love. In this homily, I have tried to show how all of us can be instruments of national peace and reconciliation. I have striven to point out how we can give love where hatred exists, how we can urge pardon in an effort to heal wounds, how we can bring hope and truth in the midst of confusion and despair. I believe that peace, love, pardon, hope and truth are expressions not only of the divine will, but also an echo of the deepest desires of our leaders and our countrymen. They are sentiments that give meaning and nobility to the otherwise mindless laying of Ninoy. Today, my dear friends, we have come our separate ways, and from our divergent backgrounds to conclude a similar covenant, a covenant that will win back for us our lost identity as a freedom-loving people. The roots of this covenant reside deep in our history and are embodied in the ringing words of Ninoy. With the Supreme Pontiff, the Church in the Philippines renews her pledge to bring about, and I quote, a truly human society where all men, women, and children receive what is due to them to live in dignity, where especially the poor and the underprivileged are made the priority concern of all.
If my children and I appear to be brave during this, the most difficult period yet of our lives, it is because we know this is what Ninoy would have expected of us. It is also because of our faith in God and the belief that He is now helping us in this, our greatest need. And so today, I wish to thank all the Filipino men and women, young and old, who have demonstrated to me, to my children, to Ninoy's mother, and to his family, that Ninoy did not die in vain. Ninoy, who loved you, the Filipino people, is now loved in return. I thank you.
dito sa swimming, maraming Pinura nandyan. Hindi.
Lupain ng ginto't bulaklak, pag-ibig na sa kanyang palad, nag-alay na ganda dilag. At sa kanyang lumi at ganda, dayuhan ay nahalina. Bayan ko, binihag ka, nasadlak sa dusa. Ibon ng may layang lumipad, kulungin mo at umiiyak. Bayan pa kayang sakdal ilan, ang di magnasang makaalpas. Pilipinas kong minumutya, pugad ng luha at dalita, aking adhika, makita kang sakdal laya. Dalita, nagdalaya. Ibon ng may layang lumipad, kulungin mo at umiiyak. Bayan pa kayang sakdal nila, ang di magnasang makaalpas. Pilipinas kong minumutya, pugad ng luha at dalita. Aking adwika, makita kang sakdal laya. Kayang sakdal sila, ang di magnasang makaalpas.
Ayun ang puno ng kahoy, oh. Mahirapan yata, mahirapan dalawa ang yun. Uy!
my Lord and my God, let your will be done, while mindful of my many failings in your sight. I take courage to ask your blessings for this, my humble birthday gift to my people. Peace, may it come soon like gentle rain on you, my countrymen of the hills, who fight for a cause you believe in. Peace, peace likewise to your suffering families, painfully separated from you. Peace, may it also come soon for you, soldiers and officers, who while recruited to protect our nation from invaders, must now suffer the anguish of knowing that your enemies are your own brother Filipinos. Peace to your grieving wives and children. Peace to our government officials and employees now struggling to preserve their humanity and integrity before the eyes of our people. Peace likewise to your families, so they may strengthen you in times of crisis. Peace to you, Doña Aurora, Mother of Ninoy, strong and steadfast, who carries her cross like a true Christian. May peace blossom like fresh flowers to keep vigil in unity with your indomitable spirit. Peace, dear Cory, wife of Ninoy and mother of his children. May peace enfold you in sweet silence and comfort you with enduring love. Peace, brave Christine, youngest daughter of Ninoy. In the lonely days that lie ahead, may you be sustained by the love that the people showed to your father. Peace to the admirable brother and three sisters of Christine. Peace to the resolute brothers and sisters of Ninoy. May peace be a brilliant star to guide you through the darkness ahead and unite you in the end to the one you dearly love. Peace to all of you, the friends and admirers of Ninoy. You came from far and near to bid him adieu and speed him on his final journey. May peace cast its shooting mantle over you as you struggle to bring about reconciliation and justice among us. Finally, to you, my dear friend Ninoy, I need to present my little gift of peace. For you now abide in God's eternal love and peace. Go then, dear friends, to our Father's side. But before you do, linger a while. Look back with love and compassion on all of us, pilgrims and exiles still striving to build this kingdom of peace and justice in our fair land.